is a quick tutorial about ransomware, how it can affect you or your organization, and the ways to prevent and mitigate the attack. This tutorial was designed for general public. Let's get started with some incidents review. A Norwegian company, Norsk Hydro, one of the world's largest aluminum producers, reported in May 2019 that it was hit by a cyber attack, which was identified as ransomware. According to the company's statement, its operations were impacted in several business areas, and they had to switch to manual mode. During its press release, Norsk Hydro called the situation quite severe. After just 1 week from the attack, the company estimated its losses to reach $40 million in lost revenue. Another ransomware incident from 2019 made a Danish manufacturer of hearing aids, Demant, a victim number 1 in the past year. According to a preliminary assessment, the company expected to incur of up to $95 million in losses following the ransomware attack. Demant's infrastructure was severely impacted, having a big impact on company's production and distribution facilities around the world. Another incident with 2 cities in Florida, Riviera Beach and Lake City, which paid over $1 million in ransomware to recover their data. The ransomware infected city networks almost entirely, paralyzing all operations for over a month. According to Verizon, ransomware attacks were a major issue for organizations in 2019, taking the second place after C2. Each year, ransomware is listed among the top cyber threats and reported incidents. In 2019 alone, ransomware attacks in the US were accountable for 2,047 reported victims, including 140 local governments, police stations, and hospitals, over 500 schools, and almost 70 government organizations. So, what is ransomware and why it can cause you or your organization trouble? Ransomware is a type of malware that infects computer system and restricts the user from accessing it. As a common practice, the attack is followed by an on-screen alert stating that the user's files were encrypted and the decryption key will be provided only after the ransom is paid. The messages are often intimidating or even threatening. They may set a short deadline for the payment to be completed, adding extra pressure for the user. The victims of ransomware attacks are not limited to individuals. More and more enterprises, municipal city governments, school districts, and public agencies are being hit every year. If several years ago ransomware was mostly a consumer problem, the tendency began to shift towards business and state agencies, with such industries as healthcare and education being at most risk. The problem is universal and does not have borders. The US was one of the leading countries to be hit by ransomware attacks in 2019. It took the 3rd place following China and India. The US accounts for 13% of ransomware-related incidents worldwide. According to CodeWare, in the first quarter of 2019, 96% of the organizations that paid the ransom received a decryption key. Of those who received the decryption key, 93% were able to use it and successfully recover the data. The FBI advises not to pay the ransom to the adversary. Paying a ransom does not guarantee an organization will regain access to its data. In fact, some individuals or organizations were never provided with decryption keys after having paid the ransom. Paying a ransom emboldens the adversary to target other organizations for profit and provides a lucrative environment for other criminals. While the FBI does not support paying a ransom, there is an understanding that when businesses are faced with an inability to function, executives will evaluate all options to protect their shareholders, employees, and customers. Ransomware can be delivered in different ways. One of the most popular strategies is malicious attachments or links sent via email, which can trigger an automatic download of files containing malware. Common delivery methods also include network intrusion, for example through poorly secured remote desktop protocol, and being dropped by other malware infections. This slide shows the most popular delivery methods and vulnerabilities causing ransomware infections. They are phishing emails, lack of cybersecurity training, weak passwords, poor user practices, web ads, and report clickbait. Prevention is the most effective defense against ransomware attacks, and every organization must implement this strategy to protect itself from this type of cyber attacks. Center for Internet Security and National Institute of Standards and Technology provide guidelines on how to protect the cyber environment. These recommendations should be implemented by every organization as a part of their information security strategy and ransomware protection plan. One of the most important recommendations is to keep an operating system and software up to date with the latest patches. Vulnerable applications and operating systems are easy targets for the cyber attacks. The antivirus software must be up to date. In addition, the organization should configure firewalls to block access to known malicious IP addresses. Backup can be the best way to restore critical data in case of successful ransomware attack. That is why data backup and recovery plan should be an essential part of the organizational strategy of ransomware attacks prevention. Another very effective strategy of preventing ransomware attacks is to restrict users to install and run unwanted software and to apply the principle of least privilege to all systems and services. Finally, the organization should implement an awareness training program. According to the FBI, recent ransomware attacks target specific organizations and their employees, and for this reason, employee training should be considered a critical preventative measure. Most of the ransomware attacks that have taken place in the past have been linked to poor protection practices by employees. If preventative measures fail, the organization should follow its security incident response plan. In ideal situation, it is simply needed to isolate the affected computer and restore appropriate backups. This can eliminate the need to pay a ransom and recover data. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. That is why the following steps should be taken immediately. The affected computer should be removed from the network in order to prevent ransomware from attacking network or shared drives. Not completely corrupted devices must be isolated or powered off. The backups should be taken offline and checked for malware. If available, collect and secure the parts of data that have not been affected yet. All online account passwords and network passwords must be changed as soon as possible. Stop the program from loading by deleting registry values. Contact law enforcement immediately upon discovery to report a ransomware event and request assistance. In the worst-case scenario, when a question whether to pay a ransom is raised, the victims should take into consideration many factors in order to make their decision. No one can guarantee that organization will get access to their data. Finally, paying a ransom encourages this criminal business model.